Hello students, we'll continue with chapter 8. So today I'll be teaching you the reproduction in human beings. Now the type of reproduction seen in the human being, that is a sexual type of reproduction. As you know that in sexual type of reproduction, the two type of gametes, that is male gametes and the female gametes, they fuse together to give rise to a single cell which is known as a zygote. This zygote undergoes repeated divisions. As a result, an embryo is formed and the embryo development takes place. As a result, the body of a child, it grows. When it grows, the body enlarges. Now up to this body enlargement, the growth which is taking place, that is known as a juvenile stage. After that, after the body has been grown fully, that means there is further no height change increases or no organ development takes place, then the shape of the body changes. That means the body की जो shape है वो change हो जाती है, as a result of which the certain changes takes place in the body which are proportionate changes, and certain features they develop in the body. There is no growth in the body, body enlarge नहीं होती, but certain features develop in the body. These changes, they takes place at a particular age of the life of an organism. Now some of these changes which takes place, they are common in the boys and in girls. What are those changes? Like thick hair growth is there in the armpits and the genital area. The genital area become darker. The hair grow on the legs, on the arms and even on the face. And in most of the cases, the skin become oily. Because of this, the pimples, they are formed on the face. Now because of these changes, the boy or the girl, it becomes very conscious about its body, because some changes takes place in the body of an organism. These are the common changes which takes place in the boys and the girls, but there are certain changes which takes place in the girls, and there are certain specific changes which takes place only in the boys. Like in the girls, the breast size increases, the nipple area become more darker, and the menstruation starts. We'll talk about the menstruation later on. These are the changes which takes place in the girls. Whereas in boys, the hair growth takes place on the face, like the mustaches starts growing and the beard also starts growing. There is a change in the voice also. The voice become very harsh. There is an enlargement of penis, which is a secondary sexual organ, and this penis, it starts showing erection. It becomes erect, it becomes hard. The blood circulation in the penis increases, and mostly it takes place during the night time or during the daydreaming. Now all these changes which takes place in the body, they are very slow changes which may take months or even years, and these changes in different organisms, they are different. What does these changes indicates? These changes indicates that now the body of a boy or a girl, it is sexually mature. So all these changes indicate the sexual maturity of the body of a boy or a girl. Now why the above changes takes place? We know that in multicellular organism, special type of cells, they perform special functions. Initially when the juvenile growth takes place, those tissues, they are responsible for general growth of the body. When this general growth of the body slows down, then other type of cells, which are specialized cells, they start performing special functions. And what are those cells? Those are the cells of the reproductive organs or the reproductive tissue. It starts maturing. Now the reproductive organs or the tissue starts maturing in female at around 10 to 12 years of age, whereas in male it starts around 13 to 14 years of age. And these years in male and the female, they are known as the adolescent stage of the organism or the puberty stage. So the puberty indicates that there is reproductive tissues starts producing, the reproductive tissues or the cells start producing a special type of cells which are known as the germ cells. That means now the organism is sexually matured enough for the sexual reproduction. हमें मालूम है कि sexual reproduction में the two type of germ cells they fuse together. One is the male germ cells and the female germ cells. They fuse together. Now in some organism, these germ cells, they are released in an environment, but this takes place in lower organism like in frog or the fishes. In humans or in mammals, these germ cells, they are not released in the environment, but the body of the two organism, दो organism की body जो है, it joins and there is an internal transfer of the germ cells from the male to the female during mating. So this mating is also known as copulation, or it is also known as the coitus. So during coitus, the body of two organisms, that is the male and the female, it joins and the internal transfer of the germ cells takes place. Now for transfer of the germ cell, the special organs are there. These organs help in transferring of the germ cells into the another organism, second organism, that is a female. And what is that organ? In male, human male, there is a penis, which is an organ which help in the transfer of male gametes into the female. And this penis show a process or a characteristics of erection. I told you what is an erection. It becomes hard and the blood circulation, it increases. Similarly in mammalian females also certain changes takes place, because these female have to carry the baby. The development of the baby takes place inside the body of a female. These female have to breastfeed their baby after the birth. So certain reproductive organs, they changes, like there is a change in the breast size, etc., etc. Now first we will be talking about the male reproductive system somewhat in detail. The main male reproductive organ, that is known as testes. There are pair of testes are there, and inside the testes spermatogenesis takes place. Spermatogenesis means the sperms are formed inside the testes. Sperms are also known as the germ cell. So inside the testes the spermatogenesis takes place, that means the sperms are formed. But remember, these testes are not present in the abdominal cavity. Now abdominal cavity कौन सी cavity है? हमारी body में दो तरह की cavities हैं. ऊपर की cavity जो है जिसमें हार्ट और लंग्स आर प्रोटेक्टेड, ऊपर की जो कैविटी है जिसमें लंग्स और हार्ट होते हैं, दैट इज़ नोन एज ए थोरेसिक कैविटी. जबकि नीचे वाली जो कैविटी है that is known as an abdominal cavity, and in the abdominal cavity all other organs, all other internal organs like stomach, small intestine, large intestine, liver, pancreas, spleen, etc., they are situated. Now this thoracic cavity and the abdominal cavity, that is demarcated by the diaphragm. Remember, these testes are not present in the abdominal cavity like other organs, but they are present outside the abdominal cavity in a muscular sac-like structure which is known as a scrotum. And this scrotum act as a thermoregulator. That means scrotum का temperature जो है inside the scrotum the temperature is around 2 to 2.5 degrees Celsius less than the temperature of the abdominal cavity. Reason क्या है? Because spermatogenesis cannot take place. The sperms cannot remain alive at the high temperature which is present in the abdominal cavity. So the spermatogenesis to take place at a lower temperature which is lower than the abdominal cavity, and this lower temperature is present in the scrotum. So the scrotum here acts as a thermoregulator. Now these testes, they secrete a hormone which is known as a testosterone. Now testosterone is also known as a male sex hormone. Major main sex hormone is testosterone, and this testosterone brings all the changes which takes place in boys during puberty. पहली वाली स्लाइड्स में मैंने तुम्हें बताया कि बॉयज़ में कौन कौन सी चेंजेस होती हैं. ये जो चेंजेस होती हैं, a hormone is responsible for those changes. Which hormone? Testosterone. And ये testosterone produce कौन करता है? It is produced by the testes. Now after spermatogenesis the sperms are formed, and these sperms which are formed inside the testes in the scrotum, they enter into a tube-like structure, and that tube-like structure is known as a vas deferens. Now this vas deferens bring the male gametes, that is sperms, towards the abdominal cavity. So ये vas deferens का function क्या है? Scrotum में से sperms को abdominal cavity की तरफ ले आता है, and in the abdominal cavity certain male reproductive glands are present. What are those male reproductive glands? A pair of seminal vesicle is present. A pair of seminal vesicles, they are present. One prostate gland is present, and there is a third male reproductive gland which is known as a Copper's gland or bulbourethral gland. The function of these glands, as you know कि कोई भी gland का function क्या होता है? To secrete a secretion. So the secretion of this seminal vesicle and the prostate gland, it get mixed up with the sperms which are present into the vas deferens. So the sperms in the vas deferens plus secretion of these glands, they mixed up, and the fluid means the secretion of these glands plus sperms, when they get mixed up, sperms are present into a fluid, then that is known as a semen. So what is a semen? Semen means the sperms which are present in a fluid. That fluid is the secretion of the male reproductive glands, that is known as a semen. Now the function of the reproductive gland, the secretion of the reproductive gland is, one, it gives fluidity for easy and smooth transportation of the male gametes into the female organ, female reproductive organ. Second is, these secretions, they provide nutrition to the developing sperms. So in short, this is a male reproductive system. Like this is a diagram of male reproductive system. This is, ये जो है, this is a sac-like structure which is known as a scrotum. ये पूरा जो sac-like structure दिख रहा है, ये scrotum है. Scrotum में के अंदर ये जो structure है, this is testis. Testis के अंदर, as I told you, spermatogenesis takes place inside the testis. So testis के अंदर sperms are formed. ये sperms testis में से निकल के एक tubular structure में आ जाते हैं. This is a tubular structure which is known as a vas deferens. So ये vas deferens जो है, it bring the sperms towards the abdominal cavity, and vas deferens जो है, it crosses the urinary bladder, because the urinary bladder is present into the abdominal cavity, and just below the urinary bladder a pair of glands, as I told you, seminal vesicles are present. So this is one seminal vesicle, similarly there is another seminal vesicle, and this is one prostate gland. So the seminal vesicle, it secretes a secretion, the prostate glands also secrete a secretion, and that secretion get mixed up with the help of a duct the secretion enter into the vas deferens. After the vas deferens receive this secretion of the seminal vesicle, that is known as the ejaculatory duct, then it also, the ejaculatory duct or the vas deferens, after receiving the secretion of the seminal vesicle and the prostate gland, it also receive a duct from the urinary bladder which brings the urine from the urinary bladder. ये दोनों duct मिल जाती हैं. जब ये दोनों duct मिल जाती हैं तो that is known as a urethra. So this is a urethra. That means urethra is the joining of the vas deferens after receiving the secretion of the male accessory reproductive glands and a tube-like structure which comes from the urinary bladder. So ये common duct एक बन जाती है and this common duct is known as a urethra. Now this urethra, it passes inside the penis. I told you penis जो है, it is a secondary sexual organ. It help in the reproduction. It help in the reproduction. But urethra के अंदर क्या है? It is a common passage for the urine, because I told you एक ट्यूब जो है वो यूरिनरी ब्लैडर से ज्वाइन होती है. तो यूरिनरी ब्लैडर में व्हाट इज स्टोर्ड? यूरिन इज स्टोर्ड. सो द यूरिथ्रा इज अ कॉमन पैसेज फॉर द सीमन as well as for the urine. So the urethra in male is also known as urinogenital duct. यूरिथ्रा जो मेल के अंदर है उसका एक और नाम है, इट इज़ ऑल्सो नोन एज ए यूरिनोजेनिटल डक्ट, बिकॉज इट इज़ ए कॉमन पैसेज फॉर द यूरिन एज वेल एज फॉर द मेल रिप्रोडक्टिव cells, that is the semen. And then at the tip of the penis there is an opening which is known as a urethral opening, and from this urethral opening the semen comes out and the sperms get deposited on the vagina of the female. So this is in short the male reproductive system. Like I told you, if we see the structure of a sperm, अगर हम sperm की structure देखें तो it consists of a body में, that means the head part and the middle part of the sperm, that is known as the body of a sperm, plus last में एक tail है. The function of the tail is it help in the locomotion or the movement of the sperm. Nucleus के अंदर, body के अंदर the nucleus is there, and inside the nucleus the genetic material is there, that means the chromosomes are present. The chromosomes are present. And vas deferens, as I told you, it is a tubular structures which bring the male gametes from the testes plus a tubular structures from the urinary bladder. They join together to form the urethra, and as I told you, another name for the urethra is urinogenital canal, which is present inside the penis. And the urinogenital canal open outside by a opening, and that passage is common for the urine and the semen, and the opening is known as the urethral opening. So this in short is the male reproductive system. In my next lecture we'll be talking about the female reproductive system, menstruation, and certain sexual transmitting diseases. Till that, stay safe, students.